Trump considers former intelligence chief Richard Grenell for Ukraine's special envoy role, sources reveal. Right, so this just in, President-elect Donald Trump is reportedly thinking about appointing Richard Grenell, his former intelligence chief, as a special envoy to handle the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. The sources who asked to remain anonymous are quite familiar with Trump's transition plans and have confirmed that Grenell could play a major role in the efforts to bring the war to an end if he gets the job. Now, for some background, Richard Grenell is not new to the political scene. He served as Trump's ambassador to Germany and also held the position of acting director of national intelligence during Trump's first term from 2017 to 2021. Pretty prestigious, right? But let's get into the specifics of this potential move. At the moment, there's no official special envoy specifically dedicated to resolving the Russia-Ukraine crisis. However, sources indicate that Trump is seriously considering creating this new role, though it's still not a done deal. It seems Trump might want to make a bold move, which would involve appointing someone who could have a direct hand in trying to end this devastating conflict. Now, it's important to note that Trump could very well change his mind. Yeah, he's weighing the idea, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. He could decide against creating this position altogether, or he could choose someone else entirely for the role. And even if he does go ahead with appointing Grenell, there's no guarantee that Grenell would accept the job, so things are still up in the air. Looking back at Trump's previous promises, he did say during his campaign that he wanted to quickly put an end to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The problem, though, is that he hasn't exactly laid out a clear plan on how he intends to achieve that, which has left many people guessing about what his strategy might look like. But if you look at some of Grenell's views, they could raise some eyebrows, especially among Ukraine's leadership. For instance, during a roundtable discussion with Bloomberg back in July, Grenell suggested that creating autonomous zones in Ukraine could be a potential solution to the conflict. This idea sparked a lot of controversy, especially since it came just months after Russia's invasion of Ukrainian territory. There's no doubt that some of the Ukrainian officials might be skeptical about this approach, considering that it could be seen as a concession to Russia. It's one of those proposals that might be viewed with some hesitation. But another aspect of Grenell's position that could cause some concern is his stance on NATO. He made it clear that he wasn't in favor of Ukraine joining NATO in the immediate future, which is a position shared by many of Trump's allies. While Grenell has a wealth of experience in diplomacy, especially in Europe, his views on NATO could make Ukraine's leaders uneasy, given how crucial NATO membership is to Ukraine's security concerns. So yeah, these particular stances might make the Ukrainian leadership wonder whether Grenell would be the right choice for a role that involves navigating such a sensitive and high-stakes conflict. On the flip side, Grenell does have some serious credentials that could make him a strong candidate for the role. His supporters argue that his extensive diplomatic background and knowledge of European affairs would give him the expertise needed to handle a situation as complex as the Russia-Ukraine war. Beyond his time as the U.S. ambassador to Germany, Grenell also served as a special presidential envoy for the peace negotiations between Serbia and Kosovo. So it's not like he's new to the game of international diplomacy, right? In fact, Grenell's name has popped up in various discussions about key roles in Trump's administration. He was even considered a top contender for the position of Secretary of State during Trump's first term, a role that ultimately went to Rex Tillerson and then later Mike Pompeo. But yeah, Grenell's close allies were pretty surprised when Trump decided to pass on him and choose Republican U.S. Senator Marco Rubio instead. That move didn't sit well with everyone, especially those who had been rooting for Grenell to get the job. So this potential role as a special envoy could be an interesting opportunity for him to step into the spotlight. Now, in terms of Trump's transition team, Caroline Leavitt, a spokesperson for the effort, declined to provide any specific details. She said that the president-elect would announce his personnel decisions when they were ready to be made public. So it seems like there's still a bit of a waiting game ahead for anyone hoping to get confirmation on Grenell's appointment or any other key appointments in Trump's future administration. As for Grenell himself, he didn't immediately respond to requests for comment, which, isn't too surprising. Politicians and public figures often keep things close to the chest, especially when there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding major decisions. So, where does that leave us? Well, Trump's potential decision to appoint Grenell as a special envoy for the Russia-Ukraine conflict could have some major implications. If Grenell gets the role, he could play a pivotal part in shaping the direction of U.S. policy towards the war, and possibly influence the broader geopolitical landscape. However, as we've seen in the past, there's always the possibility that things could change, and Trump might opt for a different path or a different person to take on such a critical task. In the end, this is one of those situations where we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on, especially given how important the Russia-Ukraine conflict is to global security. There's a lot riding on the decisions made in Washington over the coming months, and it'll be interesting to watch how everything unfolds. To sum up, Richard Grenell's potential appointment as a special envoy to resolve the Russia-Ukraine conflict could have far-reaching consequences. While he has an extensive diplomatic background and a deep understanding of European affairs, his controversial views on issues like NATO and autonomy for Ukraine may complicate his candidacy. However, Trump's transition team is still in the process of finalizing personnel decisions, and it's still unclear whether Grenell will ultimately be chosen for the role. Regardless of what happens, it's clear that the next steps in U.S. diplomacy regarding the Russia-Ukraine war will be crucial in shaping the future of international relations. Stay tuned, because this is definitely a developing story.